So welcome to briq.works. In this demo, I'm going to talk you through the whole of the system. The first screen that you see when you log into briq.works is your dashboard screen. So on here, I can see all of the projects that are live within my practice. And as an admin user of the system, I get to see all of this. So here I can see my projects. I can see on the left here under live projects, those that have recently been updated, but I haven't shared the updates with users. And on the right here, I've got my dashboard view, and I've got all the project names and a slight overview of what stage we're at with each of these projects. So these stage colors are in line with the colours of the RIBA plan of work, which is the framework used in the UK by many architects to manage their projects. However, you don't need to follow that framework when you use briq.works. But here I can see the Bramley Way in October. We think that we're likely to be in the technical design phase. In July for Chestnut House, we are between the preparation and brief and concept design. So this just gives you a brief overview of the projects you've got live and the stage they're at. If I scroll down my initial homepage, I can see the task management view. So within here as an admin, I get to choose to see all users, everybody within the practice, all of their tasks and how they're assigned, or I can choose my own. So if I select my own tasks, and actually I'll leave this as all projects, but I could choose to drill down into one particular project just to see the task for that particular project. But if I look for my own tasks, based on the date, and I can see here that I've got some tasks actually that are overdue from the 4th of July. So I know though that I've actually completed those tasks. So from this screen, I could choose to click on the link, which will take me into the program to view that particular task, any more information, and I could change the status to complete within there if it's completed. Or if I know I've completed this task already, I could simply click done. And then when I next look at this page, that task would have been removed from my task list, and also within the program the status of the task would have been changed to complete. So moving on from this home page and what I see, if I drill into an existing project to show you what an existing project looks like next, I'm going to choose my Mill Road Lodge project, and I can see here from the colour that currently we're in the develop design phase of this particular project. Let's jump in. So a project is made up within briq.works of a people page, the program page, and some details. So if I first jump to the people page, this is where you'd set your project team. So I know that my client is Valerie, and I have previously set up Valerie's details. So I can click here and I get access to see Valerie's name and address and contact details. So you can jump into this project at any time to find your client's details. No need to be looking through lists on your desk or through a shared folder of contact details. So I know my contact is Valerie, I've got her details here. I've assigned myself as the architect working on this project. I could choose to assign other team members, so they could be within my practice or they could be third parties or freelancers, and I could then keep access to see again their contact details, and if I wish to, I can give my client and or anybody else an access to the briq.works project portal, which will give them a view of this particular project, and it will allow them to see the progress of the project, see the program, view any documents that I've chosen to share with them, and also it will show them their tasks and when they're due. So it's quite a powerful tool to be able to share information with your project team via the project portal. I can choose also on this screen if I want to set up any different roles that are relevant to this project. So for example, I may have an interior designer working with me. And if it's somebody I've worked with previously and I've got their contact details held within the database, I could simply select here and find their details. If not, I would click on the icon here again to fill in their name, address, and contact information. So this is where you'd set up your team members, and you can come back to this page at any time to update this, to make changes, or to add new team members. The program page, which we jumped to when I clicked into this particular project. So within here, I can see a Gantt chart view of my program. So we set this particular project up, and as I mentioned earlier, we're into the develop design stage at the moment. So I can see here where I am, the date of where I am. And as I scroll down, I can see I'm in this develop design phase. I can make this screen slightly bigger so I get to see more of the program. And I can see here that I'm looking at this particular program on a weekly view, but I could choose, if I wish to see it by day or potentially by month. So as I look into the months, I can see that from November onwards, we move into the next stage of this particular project, which is technical design. But I'm going to go back to the weekly view, as I find this really useful. Down the left, I can see the various stages that make up this particular program and project, and I can see all of the tasks within each stage. And when I mouse over, I get more information. Now this is the same as when I mouse over the task within the Gantt chart view. I get more information, what is this particular task, and the start and end dates. I can also choose to click into this particular task. If I double click, I get the information. I could make some updates, add some details here. I've got this particular task is assigned to myself. Maybe I need to reassign that task. Maybe I need to reassign this to my project assistant, Jane. So if I select Jane, when I click save, I can then reassign that task to Jane, and that will appear on her task list for her to look at and to action. I can also see here the dates. So from the 16th of July for 10 days, that's when we think that this task needs to take place. I could amend these dates from within here. And I can also see that this task is pending. And when Jane will tick this as being complete or done, the status of this will change. So let's click save. Okay, the other way of changing a task or moving a task is I could just decide, actually, I need to pull the dates of this particular task out. It's going to take longer than we initially thought. So let's move this along just like that. Really simple and easy. Or it may be that I need to move the whole task. So the start of this task is going to change as well. So I could pick it up and just simply move it along. Now you can see here I've got a dependency from the task above. So this dependency is here. I'd set that up when I created the project, and so the system knows to keep that dependency. I could choose to set another dependency from the end of this particular task, maybe to the beginning of this task here, just by dragging a line from the small dot at the end of the task. And now you can see that the next task here has moved along. And similarly, I could have another dependency set here, which makes the whole then program shuffle along. So it's really simple to make edits to a program as you're progressing through. I could choose actually to remove a dependency. Perhaps I need something's changed and I need to now take away this particular dependency. I just double click, I get a warning message and ask, do I really want to take this dependency away? If I click yes, okay, then we've gone back. So it is very simple to make edits and changes to a program. Similarly, if I need to add more tasks, there's a button here, the plus button, which allows me to add a new task into this particular stage of the program. So I will leave the title as new task for the moment. And I will put this in for the dates of, let's say, 15th of July for maybe a week. And I will keep this assigned to me. It's a new task that I want assigned to myself. So let's click save. And now I can see that this new task has appeared down here. So it's not in chronological order initially, but if I now refresh my page and jump down, that new task now appears within chronological order where I'd expect it to be. And I could set any dependencies again, as I showed earlier. I can also delete this task, so I don't want to keep that task actually. I decide this task needs to come out, so really simple, double click and hit delete. I get prompted just to make sure that's what I want to do, and I can click OK, that task has disappeared again. You can also change the name of stages by clicking here, which allows you to edit the name of a stage, and really to make, as you progress through, you update the project as you need to. A few little buttons here. This button here highlights the tasks that are assigned to me as the architect logged in, so I can see the highlighted tasks are the ones I will need to complete. I can highlight all of the already finished tasks, so these have already been ticked as being done and complete. I can delete tasks. It's another way of doing it. I showed you previously how to change the way you're looking at this program to day, month or week. And really useful little tool is the ability to print a high-level overview of this particular project. So I could choose to print a particular stage with all the tasks, or what's quite useful at the start of a project with a client is to click here, all stages, to give them a really high-level view of the time frame of this particular project. So if I choose to save this as a PDF to file, okay, I can see here my practice logo, my practice name, and I've got an outline here of the timeline and the different stages that make up this particular project. Now, early on in a project with a client, I know that some of our users like to send this. It gives a really simple view of the timeline and what makes up that timeline. So jumping back into the program. Once I've made edits with my project and the Gantt chart here, I need to click send updates if I want to make members of the team aware of the changes. So if I've got a client who's got access to the project portal, which we hope that all clients do, because that's a key part of briq.works, is around communicating and sharing and being transparent about the project with your client. So once I've made my edits to my program, things have changed, I need to click send updates so that my client and potentially other members of the team are made aware of the changes. I click send updates. They would then get an email which would prompt them to log into their project portal to have a look at the changes and what's happened. The next page that makes up this particular project, Mill Road, is the details page. So within here, I can see the stages that make up this particular project. So it's preparation and brief, concept design, develop design, technical design, construction, handover and closeout. And this project is based on an RIBA plan of work framework, but perhaps it's based on it could be based on a different template. You can set up your templates to suit the way you work. Here I've got some general information about the name of the project, the address and the start date of the project. And then below here, I can see this is the area where I have uploaded files that I might want to keep key project documentation within briq.works so that it's easy for people to find. And for those members of the team that have access to the project portal, the client, maybe a cost consultant, anybody else you're working with who you want to have access, you can choose to share documents with them. So you can see here that I've got all of these documents here that I've chosen to share with the client. So my client Valerie, when she logs into her project portal, we will be able to see these documents. And that's a really, really useful thing, because clients often come back to you saying, could you resend me this document, and where can I find the right document? Well, if you direct them to briq.works, you can keep everything really nicely organized so that they can see their documents here. And in an upcoming version of briq.works, we'll soon be giving you the ability to organize these documents into stages and categories. So it's really simple for you and your clients to find the documents that you're looking for. But to upload a file, I'd click here. Once the file's uploaded, I've then got an action button. I can choose to download, rename, or the useful thing here to show you is the share with. So if I click share with, I then get this drop down here, which allows me to choose whether I want to keep this document just for view by admins, so that's people within your practice who have an admin login, or whether I want to share this document with my clients, or I want to share it with all of the project team who have access to the project portal. So I'm choosing my client, so I want to share this just with my client. So when my client Valerie logs in, she'll be able to see these particular documents. When you first start using briq.works and you set up a few projects, you will work through the best way of setting up stages and tasks for a project. And once you've got some of those, it's really great to then save a project as a template. So you can go back to use this particular template the next time that you log in and you want to create a new project. So you really can customize the templates to suit you, your practice, the way you work with your clients. We'll come back to that in a second. So if I now log out as the admin within my practice and log in as the client for this particular project. So this client is Valerie on Mill Road. So if I now log in as Valerie, Valerie would have been sent an email. She would have been asked to set up a password, and then she would have access to this page. It's a real simple page which allows the client to have a view of their project. So they'd log in and they'd see your practice logo, your welcome message, which you would customize within briq.works. She would have access to see the project program. So if I click on the program, she sees exactly the same, the latest version that you'd updated. And she can't make any edits. She can only see, and she can see what's going on, but she can see the program and all the tasks that make up the program. And that's a great way of setting your clients' expectations and making sure they understand all of the different parts that make up this project and why the time frame is as it is and what needs to happen. Back to the client's dashboard, really, really useful part of briq.works is the ability to have the tasks and that task management for clients as well. So my client Valerie can see quite clearly here that she's got 3 tasks that are assigned to her, the date by when they're due, and when she thinks that they're complete, she can again click done. That will notify you and it will update the task as being complete within the program. But this is great for clients, so it really helps for them to understand what needs to be done on their side and by when. And as I showed you within the admin section of briq.works, I uploaded some documents to share with my client, and this is where the client gets to see those project files. So very, very simple page for any client to log in and just have a view of everything related to the project that's important for them. Logging back in as an architect and a practice. To create a new project in briq.works, I would click here. Now, when I click Create New Project, this is going to pick up my default template that I've set up within my practice. And I have this set as the RIBA Plan of Work template, which comes already set up within briq.works when you first start using it. But I could have a different template as my default, or I could choose I want to set up a project from an empty project, and that would allow me to name the stages and go through setting those tasks individually within the stages from scratch. Or I could choose to select from another template, perhaps within my project. I've got a number of templates that we use depending on the type of project. But I'm going to, for this demo, click on Create New Project. It then gives me the various stages that make up the plan of work. And at this point, I could choose to take out some stages. So I'm going to take out strategic definition and use. So I will just have this project is going to take up these particular stages. If I then give this project a name, and I'll use today's start date, but it could be a date in the past or in the future. I will come back to add the address details at a further time, and I can click Next Step. It's then going to ask me, do I know who's involved in this project yet? Can I assign the client? So maybe I need to fill in the details here to create my client profile. And they will, once the project is set up, they will be sent an invite to join briq.works and have that access to the project portal. Now, if I don't want them to have access to the project portal at this point, I can click here and it won't send them an invite. They won't know about having access to briq.works. And then you can go back to this point anytime and unclick here and select Send Invite. Now I'm going to select an existing customer that I've got set up. And again, I will set myself up as the architect on this particular project. I'm going to come back to add in other roles at another time. Next step. Now, based on the RIBA Plan of Work template that I selected when I clicked Create Project, the system has generated the first steps of my program. So this is based on some assumptions and some industry knowledge. So it's got the various tasks and how long they're likely to take. But from here, I can start to edit this based on what I know about this project. So it maybe I need to add in some dependencies, as I showed you earlier. It may be that actually some of these tasks aren't relevant for this particular project, so let's take them out. So I'd go through all the stages and tasks, updating times, time frame, editing tasks, adding in tasks. And once I'm done, I can choose to leave this as a draft. So I don't have to finish this particular project in one go. The system will keep this in draft and I can get back to it. But if I'm happy with this particular program and I've set everything up, I can click finish. This project then appears as a live project on my dashboard, and the client would have received an email to say, go in and have a look at your project. All of the tasks that are associated with this project would now appear on the task management area of the system so that the relevant people can see those tasks. Now, the useful thing about having this task management area is if somebody was ill or on holiday, you can log in and look at a colleague's tasks as well and really able to see what they've maybe got assigned to them and start to pick up on tasks. So it helps with business continuity. Now there's a few other things within briq.works to talk about. If I click on practice here, this is where I can see all of the practice members. So all of the people that I've set up within the system. And those that are within my practice, and I want to give them full access to be able to see the project dashboard, to see all of the tasks, and to create projects and edit projects, would be set up with admin access. Everybody else has just the access to the project portal. So they're likely to be clients or third parties. As I click here, I can see my account settings, so basic information, contact details, and I can choose to change my password if I need to. I can set up how I'd like to receive notifications. So when you've got tasks due with briq.works, you get an email to notify you you've got tasks that are coming up. So you choose whether you want the notification to be sent to you 1 day before, 1 week before, 2 weeks before. And when something changes on your project, so perhaps the client has updated a task, I want to get notification of that. This is where you keep your project templates. So within my practice, I've got a number of templates set up, as I talked about previously, and I've got the RIBA plan of work set up as my default. You can go through and archive and delete templates that aren't relevant anymore, and all of these templates are shared within my practice. If I then click on my practice, I get back to the page where I can see all of the admins and non-admins that have access to my practice area. And here's where you'd upload your practice logo. So within here, you can click to add your logo when you set things up. Inquiries and projects. If we jump into projects first, this is where I can see all of the live projects, and I could choose, once a project has finished or it's gone on hold, I could choose that actually I need to archive this project. So I'd click Finish Project, and that would then move into my archive folder, which I can click on here. Now these are all of my previously live projects I've archived, and if I need to, for some reason, a project comes back again, I can choose to extract that project. It will then appear back into my live projects folder. Inquiries is a new area of briq.works, and it's quite exciting. So this allows you to add an inquiry area to your website, or potentially send an inquiry form in an email to a new interested potential customer. So if I click on settings and forms, here I get a link which allows me to see, if I click on it, a simple inquiry form, again with my practice logo and my practice name, to gather some information at the early stages of working with a new potential client. When a client fills in this form, you get notified, and this form and the information within it comes straight into briq.works, and it says here I've got access. I can see I've got a new inquiry that's come in. If I click on that inquiry, I get to see all of the useful details that this client or potential client has sent through to me. And I can go from here Once I've got this information, I can choose to create a project straight from this inquiry form. So a client inquires, they fill in this form, and actually this then proceeds to a project. I've engaged with this client, and it's even quicker for me to create a project and take all of the information that's within this inquiry form through into my initial project. So this is really new and quite exciting functionality for briq.works. So for this demo, I think that we've covered most bases. There's a lot there, and it's been quite a quick overview, but we hope this is useful, and we're always happy to talk you through, give you access to have a free trial. Please do get in touch or log into the system via our website to have a try. Many thanks.